In this box is the next entry in my quest to collect an Ultra Mobile PC, or a tiny laptop, from each Windows generation. Oh my goodness, it's going to end up being multiple tiny PCs from each generation before I'm done, probably. In previous videos, you saw this Toshiba Libretto 50CT running Windows 95, and this Sony Vaio UX handheld running Windows Vista. I've since added a Toshiba Libretto 70CT, also running Windows 95, and this GPD Pocket 3 running Windows 11. Now, if you're keeping score, that means that I have Windows 95, Windows 11, and Windows Vista covered. But that also means that I'm missing DOS, Windows 3.1, Windows 98, Windows Me. Was there a UMPC with Windows Me? No, there probably is going to be. Windows XP, Windows 7, Windows 8, and Windows 10. So I've got a lot of collecting left to do. That brings us to this box, which is supposedly a Compaq Contura Aero running Windows 3.1. So let's do a gratuitous unboxing and see what it looks like. Looks like we have possibly an adapter. It is, and it's an actual Compaq adapter. Possibly the shortest cord I've ever seen in my life. Followed by well, that's about a normal length cord. Cool. And the pièce de résistance, the Compaq Contura Aero. Feet are getting kind of squishy and gross. So this is a Series 2830. It's a product of Singapore, and it has a NiCad battery. Operates on 17.5 volts max. Doesn't say if that's AC or DC. I think that's DC. Let's open it up and see what it looks like. Ooh. So the things that immediately stand out, aside from the fact that it sticks to the table rather handily, is it's pretty much a full-size-ish keyboard. I don't want to say it's completely full-size, but it's not far. I'm not going to go type my college thesis on this or whatever, but it's doable. The trackball is kind of interesting. It's almost like it was, it does remind me of the GPD with the whole, scrolly thing here and button here sort of thing. It's almost like it was meant to be held in your hand, possibly, because I could see maybe doing this. I don't know. The sticky feet, though, that's gotta go. As far as the screen goes, it's a little bit wobbly. I have a feeling that we've got some stuff going on here in the hinges, but the big thing is they are not broken. I don't see any cracks at all around any of this plastic. It's all in really good shape. Now, this being the 425 model, this would have been a 486 at 25 megahertz, and I believe the standard for these was 4 gigs of 4 gigs. That's funny. 4 megs of RAM. There's very few things that you're going to refer to in this laptop class as gigs. Everything is going to be megs, megahertz, not gigahertz, megs of RAM, not gigs of RAM, and probably megs of storage, not gigs of storage. But anyway, it's got I believe this is going to be a VGA passive matrix display, and I believe this one is going to be monochrome. I believe the 425C and CX and going on up had the color display. This one I believe does not. Now, I believe if everything I read is correct, this thing can expand from the 4 gigs or 4 megs of RAM all the way up to 12 megs of RAM with compact stuff. But according to Wikipedia, You can move up to 20 megs if you use a third-party 16 megabyte module. It does have a PCMCIA slot. I believe this is going to be a Type 2 slot. This would be the battery door and the subsequent NiCad battery. A rather wonderful array of not many ports on the back. That's a Compaq proprietary port for the Compaq dock, or I forget what they call it. They didn't call it a dock at this point, but LPT port and a serial port, power ports, a couple of buttons, and that's about it. I don't know what's under this little window, but I think we should go find out. I wonder if that is wonder what that's going to be. I'll have to do some reading and figure out what that is. I wonder if that is a Compaq memory expansion module slot or something like that. I don't know. Let's power it up and see what it does. I'm kind of curious. Well, at least we have a power light on. I hear hard drive activity. $4096, so 4 megs of RAM. It is very upset with me because the CMOS clock is dead. That means the battery is no good. I hear a lot of hard drive activity. That's a good sign. The DOS starting there. That's probably going to be Windows 3.1 or DOS, like it said. So there's PCMCIA services loading up. Smart drive. Okay, yeah, Windows 3.1. Oh, it's a compact version. That's really cool. I love it when I find these retro machines that still have their factory load on them and all the utilities and stuff that came with the machine. That excites me for some reason. So let's go straight up and just do a help and about. So yeah, Windows 3.1 and licensed to someone named Shimko. Sounds good. Well, let's run through and see what all is actually on it then. Compaq utilities. Again, I love to see all this stuff that's on there. Power management, diagnostics. Let's run through the diagnostics and see, let it diagnose itself. I'm going to readjust you guys so that you're a little more straight on with the screen in the hopes that you can see maybe the screen a little bit better, possibly. Let's try that, and I'll move this back. Oh my gosh. I moved it and it died. We'll have to look into that. That's definitely not a good sign. Okay, we'll start it back up again. Luckily, it's running Microsoft DOS, which means it can survive a power outage no problem. So I wonder what it is that is the problem. I wonder if it's is it the cord? Anyway, before I do any of that, I did want to see what all was on the machine. WR5TNG, I don't know what that is, and obviously Windows doesn't either. Ooh, games. Does it have Doom? No. The built-in Minesweeper and Solitaire of Windows 3.1. We have TabWorks. What else do we have? What's under accessories? Hopefully this is, I assume this is the same. Yeah, this is just the basic Windows accessories, the stuff that comes built right in. We have WinLink. I believe this is a terminal type program. Yeah, there we go. COM1 15.2. So WinLink. I wonder if they have like a directory of stuff in here that they've used before. I don't know. Connect to remote. I guess there's not a. I guess there's no like directory phone book kind of thing. I guess you pretty much just maybe install WinLink on both systems and run a serial cable between the two. We're gonna have to try that at some point one of these days. We should try that at some point. We should run a serial cable between maybe this and another Windows machine and see if we can make WinLink work. One thing we're definitely going to do, though, is we're going to take really cool nuggets of information and little programs like this, and we're going to copy them off and add them to our antique software collection, because stuff like that's handy. Mouse really needs some work. So there's a Compaq directory, Learning Center, Control Center. Ooh, let's see the Control Center. Security management, computer setup, exit control center, power management. Okay, let's go to computer setup. 25 megahertz, 46SX, 4 megs of RAM, 719 of 95. Serial parallel, PCMSA is empty, of course. Keyboard, mouse for input, and 84 meg hard drive. How awesome is that? It's funny they wasted an entire button to exit the control center when Windows has got you covered on that. Let's see, Lotus. I'm sure this is an early Lotus 123, or let's just Lotus Organizer. Mouse trackball. What all is starting with Windows? Absolutely nothing. And what's under the main category? Basic Windows stuff. And we have Works for Windows and Microsoft Tools. So not a whole lot on here. Let's jump out to DOS and just have a quick look around. Oof, if we can get out of this mouse. That work? Yes. All right, what do we have here? Windows, Organize, Mouse, TabWorks, WinLink, MSWorks. What's WEP? Ooh, what is all that? Oh. This looks like a bunch of games. JEZZ Ball. Requires Windows. Ooh, let's jump back in Windows. That's the games I was looking for. A lot of ghosting on this screen. Not exactly the best screen that's ever been made, probably. So, let's go into Main and File Mangler. And WEP, Windows Entertainment Pack. That's what that's going to be, isn't it? We're going to have to handle this mouse sooner rather than later. I was going to play Jazzball because I don't know what that is, I don't think. I think I remember something about this. And the object of the game is to get lines drawn before the ball comes back over there and gets you. Like right there, I just lost a life. Nexus. So yeah, Hall of Fame. Look there, I'm awesome. So that's Jazzball. Okay, that's pretty cool. I don't want to start a new game because that was interesting, but not that interesting. But yeah, I think I do remember this Windows Entertainment Pack. So there's just not a whole lot of stuff here. There's something going on here that it doesn't like. What if I gently lift up the back of it? It's stuck to the table. Okay. Oh, that's, yeah, okay. So it is this. It's this right here for sure. All right. Let's yeah, as a matter of fact, it doesn't even want to stay on like that. Is it a problem with the actual cord, or is it a problem with the barrel jack in there? That's going to be hard to work out. All right, well, I have an adapter here, which is plugged up to the power supply, and I'm set at 17.7 volts. So plugging this in. So we do get a light. If I wiggle this around, it does not have a problem. That sucks. That means this thing is broken in here somewhere, which means the only way to really fix this is to split it, resolder it where the problem is, and then maybe heat shrink it or something like that to put it back together. And that's definitely something we're going to do. Okay, well, so there's a couple of things. I guess we're going to prioritize what needs to be done in the order it needs to be done. First thing I want to do is I want to get the hard drive out of this, and I want to replace or I want to get an image of it, because you know, like I said earlier, when you have these old machines and they have the factory original images on them, they're extremely difficult to find those images later down the road if you reinstall or reload the OS. So I'm going to try to figure out how to get this thing broken apart, and we'll get the drive out of it and get it caddied up to do a clone. And also, while I'm in there, I'm going to replace that CMOS battery, and this mouse, it needs to be cleaned ferociously, so we're going to take care of that while we're at it. I wonder if we can start by getting this battery out of it. Oh, it's a Duracell. Check that out. Oh, that's even cooler. That's just like a thing that snaps on that I'm sure I just broke to absolute pieces, but that's interesting. Oh, Compaq Computer Corporation. I would have never guessed that. Well, I think the way we play this game is we see a screw and we take out a screw. At least that's how I'm going to do it. To do this, I'm going to use the coolest screwdriver known to man. This is the Aeromax electric screwdriver, and sure makes life easier. Plus has an LCD. I mean, you know it's a cool screwdriver if it has an LCD, right? Amazon link down below for this if you want it. Comes with the most impressive set of bits I think I've ever seen. I wonder if there's anything under here. Nope, nothing under there. Let's get the mat while we're at it too, because this is going to get messy. All right, good old Matt, old Matthew. All right, that's all of those. I've got to think this thing is going to be extremely brittle, but there is nothing else holding that right there on. Nothing, nothing, nothing. Oh, I see. There are little clips in there, so let's see if I can just kind of jump in there and get it popped loose. There it went. Okay. Looks like I'm going to have to pull out at least this one and maybe more. I don't know. Oops. Do you think I'll fix it as a teardown guide for this? Actually, I probably should look. Oh, there we go. All right, so I pushed backward on it. I like pushed this way and it lifted up. So we're getting somewhere. There we go. Aha, now we're getting somewhere. I guess this right here just would just slide out. I don't know. But anyway, I'm just going to leave it out like this so that it doesn't hurt anything. Keyboard. How does that come out? I'm going to go out on a limb and say probably these Torx screws right here. That one was loose. There we go. Ooh. You know, this thing's really clean on the inside. I'm really surprised about that. What do we have for a battery? CR1220. Okay, so the hard drive. Where are we at with removing the hard drive? I guess I need to get both of these ribbon cables out of my way first. So what holds the actual hard drive itself in is the next question. Looks like it's held in from the bottom side of the motherboard, which means Does that mean we're pulling the system board out of this thing? I think that's what that means. Okay, well, I took this thing way further apart than I had to. I actually had the whole motherboard out of the thing laying on the table, and I actually pulled the shell out from underneath it because I couldn't figure out how this drive comes loose. Well, turns out that's how you do it. It's pretty straightforward. I feel like an idiot, but hey, it's out, and that's what we wanted. That is an original compact drive. It doesn't... 84 meg hard drive, compact spare 190660-001, in case somebody has this out here. So what I'm going to do at this point is I'm going to go ahead and take this and I'm going to put it in a caddy. We're going to use the old Windows XP box here, and we're going to get an image of this, which is pretty much what I do with every machine that I get that's old like this, and I keep all those images out on an NAS that I have. So let's go do that real quick. Well, after a considerable amount of time and effort, I was not able to get this this particular drive readable by any of my IDE drive sleds. I have 3 different ones, and I've never had an issue with them before, but for whatever reason, this drive just doesn't seem to work with it. It does power the drive up, and I've tried it with XP, I've tried it with Windows 98, of course I've tried it with 11, but after it boots up, the drive shows up as a quantum drive on the machine, but it doesn't see any partition tables. And of course I've tried the, I changed the jumper. I wasn't sure of what it needed, so I changed the drive select and cable select, and of course it made no difference. It just wouldn't read there. But I think what I've decided to do instead is just put this drive back into the machine, spin it back up, and maybe just copy all the data, because it's really DOS at the end of the day, and DOS is very easy to copy and forgiving. So I'm going to copy all this stuff out to a CF card, which hopefully I can make work on this machine, get it all out there to the CF card, and then and transfer the system over and make that compact flash bootable, and at least get an image of the thing that way. So basically I'm happy to keep using this drive in here for now, because the drive does seem to work and it doesn't seem to make any crazy noises. But there again, wouldn't mind having wouldn't mind having a backup just in case. So I'm going to stick this back together, and then we'll go from there. I've decided to go ahead and test this thing to make sure that it's bootable and that everything works. And to do that, I've opened up VMware Workstation. I've built a little test VM here. I'll show you what I've done. Basically, I've given it a floppy drive, and I've connected that floppy drive right out to a DOS 6.2 boot disk. Now, currently, I think this thing is running DOS 6.2.0, but 6.2.1 will do just fine in this case. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a hard drive to this. And for a hard drive, I'm going to choose a physical disk. This would be our compact flash card that we put in earlier. And I believe this is going to be physical drive. Is it 2? Well, here's how I figure out. I can use individual partitions. And the partition, the only one it shows is a FAT16 84 meg. Okay, that's the correct one, but I want to use the entire disk. So I'm sure I have the correct disk now. So next, and we'll just call it that. That's fine. That's just the name for the VMDK that it's going to build. And I need to make sure that the floppy drive is connected at power on, because we need to boot from that first, because I don't think this thing's going to be bootable. Let's fire it up. Now this should be booting from our floppy disk. All right, so let's run a quick fdisk. Ooh, I can't type. Fdisk. Told you I couldn't type. Wow. Got it. Let's look at display information. All right, so there it is. 84 meg CF card, FAT16, escape. Let's go ahead and set this active for booting. Oh, it's already set to active. Okay, good. I did that on the Compaq, but it's probably good to double check that. So let's escape this, and then what do we have as far as tools on our A drive? We have quite a few things on here. All right, so next thing we're going to do is sys c:, and this will move over the bootable files that it needs to boot. And I guess at this point, let's go ahead and get rid of our floppy drive. Floppy not connected, don't connect it to power on. Okay, and let's reset this machine. Okay, it's booting from that C, that's good. Yeah, there's high mem, PCM. Okay, so this thing is trying to load up the PCM-CIA device drivers. And obviously this is VMware, so we don't have any PCM-CIA drivers. So let's jump back down to our floppy drive and let's connect it. And we'll do a quick reset of this machine. Let's boot back to the floppy. We're going to edit the autoexec.bat or the config sys, wherever it's loading those drivers from. And we're going to stop those from loading and see if we continue going on. So let's look at our config sys. So we're going to do we're just going to remark everything here that has to do with PCM-CIA drivers. Okay, let's save that, and let's unplug our floppy drive, disconnect, and reset this. Let's see if it moves on and boots further. Oh, it did. Okay, and we remarked our win, so at this point we should be able to look at that. Even though my mouse is acting psycho, it's there. All right, so what does this tell me? This tells me that I have a working image of this machine. So I now feel comfortable, copying this up to my NAS and leaving it there. Situation has deteriorated, and it's deteriorated big time. Also, things have spiraled completely and totally out of control. Like I said earlier, I tried everything I could in order to get the drive that was in this machine to read on any other computer that I have. And I've got 3 different drive caddies, and I have a plethora, you may say, of various vintages of computers that I can plug this into and make it work. But it doesn't. It recognizes the drive. It saw it as the hard drive, but it had no partition tables on it. So basically I gave up. Actually, I went so far as to pull the drive and install it in this IBM, which is the same generation machine that has a very similar drive, and it can't read it either. So I don't know what's going on with the drive, or maybe there's something weird going on there with the format or the file allocation table. I don't know. But so I did what any other self-respecting human being would do. I got the same parallel ATA drive out that I've used for every one of these projects that I've ever done, and I have done a lot of them. And my idea was I was going to basically copy the data off of this, copy it onto here, transfer the system over to it to make it a bootable DOS parallel ATA drive, load my PCM-CIA card drivers, and just, push everything back on it. Very simple, because it's DOS, right? Wrong. I put the drive, this drive, in the machine, press the power button, and that's where things went bad. There were sizzling noises, there was smoke coming out, there was carnage, bad stuff. Anyway, some stuff smoked, and I don't know why it did that, because again, here's another machine of the same vintage that has the exact same drive in it. It doesn't care. As a matter of fact, there's very little difference between the hard drive in this machine and this machine. They are very similar machines. So I don't know what's going on with this. I don't know if there's something different that's going on with Compaq and the way they've got the power run. I don't know. I have no idea. Anyway, I just know that it smoked the thing. So what did we do? We went all in. We just went all in and went down the rabbit hole, and let me show you where we're at now. You see, this was the affected board. This is what exploded when I pushed to the button. In particular, this little IC right here, which I think is a I'm not sure if that is a MOSFET. I don't know what that is. Anyway, this circuit right here, or this IC right here, smoked and cracked right up the middle, and that was it. So we went out to eBay, and I found this one for actually a really good deal. And in fact, if you look at the surface of this one here, it is really, really nice. And I'm thinking, wow, this is a great machine as parts fall out of it. This is a great machine because, you know, it looks really, really nice. Unfortunately, though, it's broken here on the back. But even the bottom of it is good. In fact, it had good feet. I've already salvaged those bad boys. So I don't think I'm going to be able to use the main body of it because there are quite a few cracks that mine don't have. But I don't know. I may end up using the screen lid. The issue with this one is, and the reason it was so almost free was, well, the screen has bubbled up and is toast. But if you look, it appears to have very little use. But the cool thing was, it had the board we need. It also had a 170 meg hard drive, a Seagate drive in it, that is chock full of stuff. Plus, it also had an 8 meg memory expansion board. So now my little Compaq Contura Aero has 170 meg drive, a working power button, and subsequent working everything else. But it also has 12 megs of RAM. There's just one problem. This drive, yeah, it's not recognized in anything else either. Plus, there's a whole nother issue with this drive. Let me show you. Compact flash card. All right, so here we are at a DOS prompt, and we have a D drive. So I'm going to go ahead and just format D:, right? Let's just get rid of everything on it. We're going to start right over. Oh. And you're going to see in a minute why we're having some issues here. So I don't know, we'll call this Aero 2. Again, this is the drive from the parts machine. All right, so D. Nothing on there. Make a test directory. There it is. All good, right? Watch this. Let's look by page here. There is a, I don't know, let's just do the Doom directory. And I know I can use Xcopy, but I'm going to show you something here. Let's copy star.star to D:// space. Make directory D:/. I thought I just did this. Oh, because I put a backslash on it. So again, we're copying data over here. Life's doing really good. That WAD file's huge. Now look, it says file not found. What's up with that? And path not found for dooms.exe. What's going on there? Let's look over in D. Oh no. Look, it's all gibberish now. It's all completely and totally gibberish. This partition on this flash card is now done. It's like once you get to a certain point, it corrupts, it's over with, and there's no coming back from this. You can put this in a regular machine and it is just completely and totally obliterated. So I first thought that the issue with this was maybe double space, which is running here. But from all I can remember and keep in mind, it's been a long time since I've dealt with double space, but I have dealt with it. You can move stuff off of the compressed drive onto anything else, and life is good. So, well, maybe it's just the card. Maybe something weird with the card, right? Except I went out to eBay and I bought this. This is the floppy to PCMCIA adapter for this machine, sold with this machine, I believe, or as an accessory too. Anyway, I plug this thing in, try to copy files out to the A drive, and they're the same way. It just corrupts the drive, and I've got to format it again. So obviously there is something up with this drive, and I don't know what. The only reason I care about this is there's a lot of really interesting stuff on here, like all the zip tools. There's lots of the Palm Pilot stuff is there. Of course, Windows Entertainment Pack, which we've got on the other one. Doom is on there. Not that I would ever want to play Doom on this machine, on this screen. It would be atrocious. But anyway, there's a lot of really interesting stuff on this hard drive, and I just kind of hated to lose it. At this point, I decided it would be best to just get rid of double space and see where that led me. But in order to do that, it meant I had to first delete some data in order to free up space. See, the cool thing about double space is that it loads via the config sys, meaning that if you free up enough space and copy the DOS files needed to boot over to your compressed drive, it's possible to remark the double space entry in config sys and boot without compression. I also went through and cleaned up the autoexec.bat and config sys a little bit. Got rid of some extra junk that probably didn't need to be there anymore. As a result, once HiMem gets done, it actually boots up pretty fast. Let's shut this thing down and let's get it all put back together. We have a replacement battery to go in the for the CMOS, and I got to clean this mouse up. It's still kind of janky, so let's do those things at this point. I've learned that putting this thing here back on this cover is a lot easier if you take these LED diffusers and pop a couple of them out. Goes back on much better. Now let's try to get these feet cleaned up. They're so gooey and gross that they're extremely hard to deal with. This is just isopropyl alcohol. Works really well on these gooey parts like this. I pulled the feet off my donor unit here, stuck those back on with this Gorilla clear grip stuff. This works really, really good on rubbers and plastics, that type thing. So anyway, just kind of wiping it down with 99% IPA. Just want to make it look as nice as I can. I'm going to hit this screen here because it is just filthy. I'm not going to go too crazy with it, but that is definitely some measure better. Good old toothbrush really gets in those crevices. So with all of that removed, with double space gone, all of the extra junk on the system cleaned up, all put back together with 12 megs of RAM and a 170 megabyte hard drive, ta-da! We even have Microsoft Office version 4, complete with a Microsoft Office toolbar up here. Just to run through, we have our Compaq system utilities, the ones that came pre-installed on the machine, which I think we've already established that I love to see that. We have quite a few fun games to go play, like Minesweeper. We even have quite a few more games on here that I haven't gotten a chance to move over and make program shortcuts for, but I'm sure I'll get to that. Classics like Dig Dug and Landmine and Pac-Man and Space War. So it's a fairly well reinstalled and perfectly usable Windows 3.1 machine. Should go really nice with the collection. So with that, this completes my entry for Windows 3.1 in my collection of Ultra Mobile or Tiny PCs from each generation. So make sure to stay tuned for future episodes, because we're going to expand this collection quite a bit, I would say, before we're totally satisfied. Now, if there's something you guys would like to see, if you have a particular tiny Ultra Mobile PC in mind that you think I should cover, definitely let me know down in the comments. I'll be happy to take a look at it. But for now, guys, that'll wrap up this video. I hope you've enjoyed it. As always, thanks for watching.